No, I don't have a question, never mind.
With that, I'll take any questions you got, other than that one.
Okay, so I have some questions.
Okay.
So, the two on Frontier Road, south of Burt Road, this is one that we have talked about in the past, that this would be a potential joint project with the drain commissioner.
Okay.
Is that one just sort of been put on hold until we see what's gonna happen with this other project?
Yes.
You're talking about someplace else?
Yep.
And so, the one you brought up earlier, that's the one that's sort of gonna be the test case.
Yes. And then the reason it wound up being the test case, not the other, is this is Day Road, and it's also, Day Road is one of the roads that we're gonna work on for the township. I think it's on another part of it, but.
Right.
So, we wanted to try to tie that together.
Okay, so is that on the section of Day Road that we're, paved?
I don't think so.
No, this is Day Road east of Kelso.
Okay, so that's west of Waldron Road.
Yep, so the paved part is from.
127 to
127,
Waldron Road.
yeah.
All right, okay. Territorial Road, west of M49. So earlier in the year, we had talked about this. And my understanding was that we were going to do a lot of paver patching in that section from M49 west to the Indiana state line. I was down through there Sunday, and there was only one section that had been paver patched.
That's because we were doing the Eden Road cutoff,
Mhm.
and we had some extra asphalt at the time, and so they went ahead and did a spot that they could get done with that. There is still gonna be some patching and paper patching done there, along with more going to the east. We did on around the curves at Lake
Yeah, I
Diane,
appreciate that, that was badly needed.
and so there's gonna be more, but that's a primary road, that's all on us. So once we're done paver patching everything for the local contracts and chip sealing, we'll go back to paving whatever we can afford to pave by the budget, and that'll let us know by then. Some more and it'll be Camden Road, it'll be Territorial, and I don't know if there's even a couple on Walton, but those are
Okay.
still hanging out there.
In the future,
From any weather.
territorial roads getting bad,
Oh, it is, the whole thing needs,
all the way.
from M99 to the state line, it needs a new top on it.
I travel that a lot.
We've been talking, because like right now, we're doing the federal aid for Concord, Jonesville, and Herring.
Mhm.
So Herring's only a 1 year thing, we're doing it this year and it's done. The other two are 3 year. So there's 2 miles this year, 2 miles next year, 2 miles for each. The third year, it'll complete those. So then our intent is to be looking at Territorial, Camden, and Waldron as the next 3 to start. And that's gonna have to be a couple miles here, a couple miles here, and it's gonna take a while to, unless we can get some big grant with Territorial, you're never gonna get something to do all the Territorial ones. So that's gonna have to be sectioned up,
Are you aware that Territorial at one point was a state highway?
Mhm. Yep.
So it has an excellent base.
Yes. I don't think there's any real base issues other than in those curves, where that either was getting to be or will be very quickly a base issue if we hadn't put those patches in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cracks that they could go in and crack seal some of that grass and stuff that's in there. Seal those cracks up will help hold it together until we can get more work done on it. But if we can somehow get those cracks taken out, or maybe do a small mill and fill, I mean, no matter how you bite that elephant, it's gonna take a long time to get that one done. Camden Road, we've done most of the big deep holes that were in it. We're gonna try to do some scratching in with a box blade to fill that center rut that's coming out of the village to the east. We'll see how that works and how far we can get. But there's about 3 miles of that
Yeah.
just needs that center rut on both lanes taken care of. And then if we can come back, again, that's a solid road, but we gotta get everything healed up and then maybe do a overlay on top of
We
that.
did rut fill on that, 15
It shows.
years ago. And that was the case, that there was actually a hydrant line in that rut, so deep.
So we've got a box blade out here that we're gonna try to use, hoping to bring in like a couple flow boys where they can just belt it right into the thing and just scrape it in and roll it and just to heal that in. We'll have to see how it works and how much it costs, cause that's still gonna be a lot of asphalt just to fill that rut.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay, so just a comment on dead trees. I was down Pittsford Road sometime within the last week. And on Pittsford Road from Bacon to the Pittsford village limits, there's a lot of dead trees down through there that are in the road right away, that are leaning towards the road, that in my opinion need to be cut.
There's probably thousands of trees just
Well-
like that throughout the county.
That's what I was gonna say, because I ride motorcycles, so that's the first thing I look at is the trees. Can I make it through there without getting killed? Probably not.
So do we need to address them? Yep, and CHOP got a bunch of them, and those ones that are called in. The thing that we have to look at is we don't need to be out there cutting trees for every homeowner just because it's dead. If it's not, in our opinion, we need to have that say so, if it's not our opinion, it's endangering the road or it's immediate danger, it needs to stay. But they need to cut it, because just because it's in the right of way doesn't mean it's our tree. If that's a live tree and we wanna come in there and cut it, guess what, we're gonna get sued if we cut their tree.
I'm not talking about live trees.
I know, but why is it different when it's dead? They still have the same liability for that tree, it's their property. And if it doesn't hit the road, one of my old bosses used to say a tree can fall any one of 4 directions. Only one of them's gonna hit the road. That's when we're liable for it, is when it hits the road. So, there's a lot of dead trees out there, I granted, some of them you called in, I went and looked at. There's some of them that it might only be one big limb that's dead, hanging over the road. We may need to come out there and cut that limb off, but if the rest of the tree falls out into the field or out in the yard, why do taxpayers in general need to pay to cut your tree because it's dead in your yard?
So, and we're probably not talking maybe dead trees in yards, we're probably talking dead trees and fence
And
rows.
fence rows, usually.
And so the farmers maybe should take care of some of their own dead trees.
Now, like I said, if they're like leaning over it and they start like, some of them will just start sagging, we need to get out there and cut those. If they hit the road, we need to cut them. If there's a couple of them on my drive home, that there's one big limb that sticks off a big oak tree that we probably need to cut that limb off. But the rest of it, I don't think we need, there's so many of them, we can't, but
Yeah, I understand that.
I think we need to take the immediate hazards out.
Yeah.
Anywhere we can, but other than that, the property owners are gonna have to take care of them.
Well, for what it's worth, in my opinion, some of these meet the immediate.
And I agree, I went and looked at those ones you gave me on Moscow Road and all those around.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just those wooded areas of whoever owns it, you know, but it's probably just a couple limbs that need to get taken off, and the rest can just fall in the woods or fall in the field or. So, we are making a list, and as we get a big enough list, that's what, we'll take that list and then give it to CHOP and say, hey, come take care of these this week, come take care of these. They've cleaned up most of our existing tree forms that have been hanging out there for years already.
Nice.
They got a lot of work.
And it's yours, they were hanging.
Yeah, years, literally. And that's the thing, a dead tree, yeah, it's a dead tree. But that dead tree's liable to stand there longer than the live one sitting next to it. Because the wind catches all the leaves when it's wet, knocks that one over. The dead tree doesn't have nothing to stop the wind, it stands there for decades. So it's hard to say, yes, it's dead, it looks bad, but is it really dangerous? maybe
I
not.
went up at Half Moon Lake Road, now that, I figured any time that, cause that leaned right to the road.
Did it get cut?
Yeah, we took that out.
Okay.
We have caught up with a lot of them, Mike, and I think they did a good job so
I
far.
don't know how many people say, when's the county gonna cut that? When's the county gonna cut that?
And our guys are still out cutting,
Yes,
and our guys are more gonna probably key on canopy work, like clearing a mile of canopy for a road project that we're gonna do. They can do that a lot
well, they've even
more efficient.
been cleaning up after the storms.
They have,
too.
yep, the storms have been killing us. Even this morning, we were out cleaning up trees.
I didn't think it winded last, did it end up?
It doesn't matter, the ground's wet,
Oh.
and all it takes is a little bit, and they fall over, a big limb falls
Because
off,
again,
or,
I was surprised, I was expecting some storms, and I didn't think we really got any storms, we just got rain, so, but I did go to sleep last night, so maybe it was while I was sleeping.
so.
While you were sleeping?
Could be.
One last thing, and then I forgot.
I forgot.
I've been working with ODOT, one that they've got a detour coming up, I think it's probably done now. There's a 1-day detour coming up off one of their state highways, going over to 127 using territorial, and then, 127. So they allowed us to detour onto them back a month or so ago. Didn't charge us a permit fee. We did the permit, but no permit fee. So they called and asked if they could do basically the same with us. I'm like, sure. And so they put up some signs and detoured. Now I'm working with them because we had a motorcycle accident a couple, 3 weeks ago. It was a fatal, from a motorcycle coming up from Ohio and hit nobody says that the gravel's what caused it, but about the time it goes from Ohio to Michigan, all their roads are paved. Most of ours are gravel. And so there's no sign showing pavement ends, because it's in Ohio. And so I've been working with them I said, either if you guys can put them up, that's great. If you want us to put them up, I'm fine with that too. We just need to get your permission to put signs in your state, and take care of them. And so we're working with them. I think there's 12 different roads that come up that turn from pavement to gravel coming into Hillsdale. And so we're working with them to get signs installed saying pavement ends.
So what road did that accident occur? Which township was it in?
Was it Bird Lake or was it?
Bird Lake sticks out to me.
I thought it was Bird Lake.
Okay.
3 against 1.
All right,
Just north of-
I'll call it Bird Lake.
North of Pioneer.
But I guess I've never noticed that every single road in Ohio is paved coming into Michigan. And I would have never thought to go look to see if there's a sign letting people know that.
So I'll just throw out one comment. And that is that this has been brought to my attention at township board meetings. Is that when our guys scrape gravel roads, frequently they do not get those stubs that go south of territorial and meet.
I would have to argue that one, and actually we could actually look and see, because our
Well,
units have GPS on them.
you and I would have an argument there, because my brother-in-law, who happens to be the township treasurer, his property is on one of those gravel roads. It's the first one west of 127. And up until we graded that road, before we brined it, it was horrible.
Probably was.
From the time that spring broke from the frost until it got graded before.
Because they were the last township to get.
But that should have never been left go like that, because that road, about 5 miles an hour, was as fast as you wanted to drive. And so when you hit that, sign or no sign, should have never been let go like that. And I've had township supervisors tell me that they have noticed this in the past. Something that we need to make sure happens when we grade gravel roads down along the border. All of those gravel roads need to get graded.
I'll look at because I can go back and pull up the GPS on it and see how often or when they were done.
And that particular road doesn't have a gravel road on the north side of Territorial that goes someplace else. That's
Just-
another reason
It
why
just goes south.
it just goes south off from Territorial.
Scenic road.
Exactly.
Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Gary?
Well, what I wanna bring up is under new business, so,
But we're up to it.
okay, well, we've got this contract here.
There's a contract in your folder, Bob,
Uh-huh.
a contract for ransom.
Yeah, I got that, I
New business is first.
told this,
So that's under new business.
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
And what he has is new business.
I was talking a little bit, okay, yes. We gotta approve the contract for Lansing Township, $125,550, and Township says $81,550.
I would move that we approve the contract.
Or
Now, I
Any
have
discussion?
some questions. So you went to their township board meeting, I think, after our last meeting. So how much of this 1 mile is the plan to paver patch this year? Everything that needs to be done?
That's gonna be an overlay.
Yeah, it's,
That's a solid,
Bird Lake to Trip.
Yeah.
On Bird.
that's 1 mile
So are
solid.
we
bid.
voiding out their previous contract, and this is gonna replace it?
Cause the previous contract was like 500 ton,
Okay,
and which would have done, if a solid piece would have done half mile.
okay,
And then they came back and said, well, we want another 200 ton, which might have got them to 3/4 mile. And then finally, this one, they're like, after we talked to them and everything, they said, okay, we'll go to 1,000 tons, we can do the entire mile overlay. So there won't be a break in it.
But it's still called a paper patch.
Yes, it's still,
Okay.
And this is gonna be the one with the 3-year contract.
2-year,
At the last board meeting was,
I think they agreed to go to 2.
yeah, it's close to 2 years.
Yeah, originally they
I
wanted
only
3.
know what I'm told,
Oh,
so.
Originally they wanted 3, once we talked and everything, and that they got the actual cost and what it's gonna be and everything, they were comfortable with 2.
and from a financial standpoint, I mean, that was one of the things we had talked about. They're in a strong enough financial position that they can do it.
Yes, they said this is their ARPA money that's about
That's
to,
what I expected or suspected.
that's
was the
about
case.
to, either you have to get used or
Or you lose it.
lose.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
they're,
that was what I had said at the last meeting, but I felt like that's probably what the case was.
and it was, but I just didn't know for sure until we talked to their
Previous
township meeting.
Previous one, board didn't want to.
Yeah, there's a copy in your,
That was the problem.
oh, you printed that one
And I think this copy is in our file. I don't think it was, yeah, anyway,
off? Okay, so you should.
I don't remember.
She was editing.
Do we have a motion to,
I moved and Mike supported it.
or
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We've only got one copy of this. See?
Yeah. A dirty one.
I see that.
You got coffee stains on it, or?
It didn't come from this office.
Oh. I see it's got some smudges on
Look at the back.
need your pens.
My goodness.
Well, I have pens.
Do you
I
just,
know you
you-
do.
are you kinda like the president, you sign a little bit and then you give him the pen and you sign a little bit?
Well, that's a pencil. I tend to write in pencil, but I like to sign contracts in pen. And I like my highlighter and I like my eraser.
Look what I
There you
got.
go.
I got my collection too.
Exactly, that's that one.
We get you one of them old pens that have like 4 different colors.
No, no, I hate those. Hate those.
it.
But I do have arthritis in my thumb, so I have bigger grip pens these days. Time to retire.
I'm just tired.
Especially after the last month of hot, muggy weather.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Picking up some grass yesterday.
This morning was nice walking.
Yes, it was nice last night.
Gary, do you have anything for new business?
Yes. Okay, so I want to go back to Lake Diane. and Mr. Blaine.
Okay.
He's called me a couple times, and I went out, and I was on my way home from Coldwater, and decided, you know, this was a good opportunity to swing down by there and take a look at what was going on. And so it happened to be that he drove up just after I get out of my vehicle. So I was there probably half an hour. I got the grand tour.
So he likes to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what concerns me is that, and I think this is something we really need to look at adopting a policy on. Because if I had a map in front of me of that subdivision,
How much did he have?
but this really doesn't spell it out. But on East Diane Drive, going south off from Sellers Road. So what he has done is filled just a very little portion of that going south. But he wants to fill a much bigger stretch of that ditch, several hundred feet.
Going south,
Yes,
he'd be up to that house on the curve.
yes. That's what he wants to do.
Why?
Because as it is right now, the water is eroding the ditch when it goes south, going downhill, it erodes the ditch. So he wants to fill the whole thing. Well, you know, maybe that works where you got sand and gravel, but it doesn't work in that heavy clay. You know, and I'm with township people, particularly those who live on the lake. They're very concerned about that stretch of road because they put that in with their special assessment money. And, you know, for those of you who live with sand and gravel, you don't have a problem getting rid of the groundwater underneath. But where we live down there in our heavy clay, that's the reason farmers put tile in fields. And when I was a boy, they used to put tile in every 60 feet. Well, they've come back since then and putting tile between those lines because you can't get rid of the water fast enough in the spring and you can't get rid of it in the fall. And so I really think we ought to have a policy that says if you're gonna fill a road ditch, you've gotta put drainage in the bottom of it.
Well, wait a minute, they can't fill a road ditch.
That's what he's done already.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has.
Okay.
Sellers Road, he's filled the road ditch. There was a ditch there and he has filled that. And going south off from Sellers on Lake Diane Drive, part of the way already he has filled the ditch. But he wants to fill it even more, several hundred feet more he wants to fill it.
Well, those aren't the same conversations I've had with him, but all the road, no dirt washes out on the roads. Period. I've gone down there in the middle of a rainstorm. All the water stays off the roads. He wasn't talking about filling the ditch. He was talking about if you're going down Sellers and it kind of makes that bank that goes towards the pond. He wants to fill the rut that's in the bottom of that ditch that's been washed out to make it, because right now it's a mowed grass line. But right in the center of it, it's got like a, I don't know, maybe a 6-inch or 8-inch wide rut that's been washed out. He wants to fill that in to make that smooth again, to match the other side. So he's not trying to fill the ditch in. He's wanting to fill in just the eroded part that's like the ditch line was here, now it's eroded down to here.
That's not what he told me. What
And
he
he's
told-
actually gonna cut out part of that hill to actually take that hill out of there too, and push it farther in, you know. That's why they got all those flags marked up there for the foam pedestals and everything.
Did they ever raise those foam pedestals?
No, but they're coming out to. He's actually worked with them. They've already fixed the one line that cuts across down Sellers. and they have paid him to do that work. So,
What?
The phone company.
the phone company,
They either have, I'm not sure they have paid him yet, they have
well,
Agreed.
agreed to pay him.
agreed to pay him,
Why are they paying him?
because it's on his property.
Who cares?
Well, they either have to bring their crews down to do it, because right now it's sitting on top of the ground.
Right.
And so to get it 36 inches down, they either need to bring their crews and equipment down to do it, or if he
But
offers
he
to do it,
created a problem.
that's between him and them, I don't care. It's not road right
At
away.
least I get away with that.
Me too.
But they are gonna raise that foam pad,
They got
and
to.
he's gonna, once they raise that, then he's gonna shape that all the way around. I told him we'll move the 2 signs that are on each side, the one they're too low anyway. But once he gets ready to do that, we'll pull those signs, let him do that, we'll put the signs back in where we want them and where they need to be. And that'll have everything shaped, that'll be up high, and that will reshape I think the part that you think that he's filled in. That'll reshape all that, and he's gonna shave off part of that hill that goes down there.
But he wants to fill the ditch that currently exists,
That's not what I've talked
and he
about.
wants to fill that for several hundred feet. And he pointed across the road and he says, that's what I did over there and I wanna do the same thing here. He pointed to the west side, okay? So,
That goes off the road and dips down and goes out to the lake. This will dip down and go out to that farm.
but it's gonna have to go for several hundred feet. And that heavy clay in the spring of the year, you're gonna have water under that road bed that can't get away with no drainage there. The road ditch provides drainage for the road. When you fill that ditch like he wants to do without putting any tile in to get rid of the excess water, you're gonna create long-term problems in that road bed. And if I was a property owner down there, I would be raising a stink. And it's not just him, but I'm thinking about future. What if a farmer wants to do the same thing? On a road ditch along his
Well,
property?
we had a farmer do that in Moscow Township, and he put the tile down, and we were involved with.
Godfrey did it too, didn't he?
Well, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, and he worked with the road commission, determining what size tile and how many had to go under there, and so he worked with us.
But this guy he doesn't wanna put any tile in.
Okay,
He hasn't put any tile in on what he is already done.
Okay, Jerry, let me explain. So this is center line of North Diane, East Diane. The west side of the road, you got your road, and then it goes down in the ditch and it goes out and Lake Diane's out in here. This comes down and it dips just like that, but then it goes back up a hill. He's gonna shave that hill off, and what he's wanting to fill in is it's washed out like that.
No, he wants to fill it all the way from the top,
Well,
from both directions. He wants to fill the road ditch.
that's what I've talked with him about. I have no idea what.
Sounds to me like you need to meet with him and come
Well,
up with a plan.
in my opinion, and I think this needs to go to everybody, this board should not be out telling residents what they should and shouldn't do. That's for me. You hired me to do that.
Well,
If you wanna work with me, or through me, that's one thing.
Right.
But for a commissioner to be out telling the resident what's gonna happen or what we can do is inappropriate.
Well,
That's what I'll say.
Blaine called me and left me a message. When he left the message, I was actually in surgery 2 weeks ago.
But
He
here
wanted
is
me to
my,
meet him, but
here
I
is my
won't- I
position,
won't do it.
Bob. I didn't tell him what he could or couldn't do. I said, in my opinion, what needs to be done is you need to lay a perforated tile in the bottom of that ditch if you're gonna fill it. And this is why I'm bringing it up here, is that I think we need to adopt a policy. Okay, while you were up there drawing that, Kathy brought up a situation that we had with, young Godfrey, who came in here. There was a portion of road that he wanted to fill, but it was.
not a portion of road, he wanted to
So-
fill a ditch, which was a
Okay.
problem ditch that might needed a guardrail.
Okay, and so, but there were tile that were put in underneath before he filled it. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. If
I
you,
don't, okay, his ditch was almost a flat ditch. Actually, if you ask me, it went up a hill and it cut through that hill.
no, you and I
This
are
one-
looking at a different,
Godfrey's.
No, I didn't see Godfrey's.
Okay, but his always goes downhill. There is no standing water in that ditch. It's always gonna run downhill, no matter what. What standing water is gonna be there to get into a tile?
I'm talking about in the spring of the year when the frost goes out of the ground, okay? It takes a long time for that clay to dry out. And if you don't have tile in that ditch that you're gonna fill, you're gonna have soft spots in that road and the road's gonna break up. It's the
All I
same,
got to say is a farmer tiles flat spots. Farmers do not tile hills, because water runs off the hill.
farmers in clay ground tile everything,
Okay, well,
don't they, Bob?
this is for you guys to decide if you want a policy or whatever, but
I don't even know what the, I mean, I'd have to go look at it to see. I don't, you guys.
I just think we're setting a bad precedent, letting the man fill these road ditches without putting any tile in them in clay soils.
well, what you're talking to him evidently about, what I'm talking to him is two different things. Because that's not what I've talked anything to him about. He's not even mentioned filling in the ditch.
Well, before I left that day, that's where he took me. After we had been out on Sellers Road and looked at the situation there, then we went south from Sellers, almost a quarter of a mile. And he said, I'm gonna do the same thing here. And then was my suggestion, you know, if you're gonna fill this ditch, you really need to put a 4-inch perforated tile in there to get rid of the excess water.
I'm like, well, he literally put his foot in that V and said, this is what I need to fill. So, with that being said,
Guess we'll have to wait and see what he does, or
You wait and see what he does, and then quote, you know, in my opinion, it's too late.
you back tear it up from Tyler,
I just think, if you want me to do this job, let me do it.
Does he have a completion date,
No,
just a rough idea?
because he's just kind of gradually, he's got a whole plan, but it could be years down the road by the time he's done with his
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
But
So you're
that's intended to be a whole subdivision around that pond.
Oh, well, years ago, Blaine, when East Diane was, remember how muddy it used to be? It was 2 foot of mud going back in there. So they all got together and done the road. Well, Blaine wanted them, where the curve is, if you're coming out, going to Sellers, if you go way back where the house is at, put that road right up over through his property. I knew what his idea was, but he wanted us to hire him to do that. Because that was
Oh, he still tries that.
that was so
I'm like,
wet.
no.
Yeah, that was so wet down through there on East Diane, that it was just a mud bog. But no, we was not gonna do that.
For Monte Carlo, he wanted to do, I can do this right now, no, this is a certified road, if any work gets done, we're gonna
Right.
do it, or we're gonna contract it. A resident's not gonna go out there and work on a certified road.
That's what he wanted to do. This been.
I understand that, yes. But I've got confidence that I've got enough rapport with him, and I've talked to him enough, I know what he's trying to do. I don't see an issue with what he's doing.
Well, I'm gonna strongly disagree with you based on the conversation I had with him.
All right.
Because, and again, it's not just him, it's any property owner who wants to fill a ditch in heavy clay soils needs to put drainage in there.
And again, we should not be filling any ditches unless it's very unique situations. That's the whole principle, you don't, too many people, especially around lakes, that fill ditches in without putting nothing in. And it's not just to take care of like groundwater, it's to actually get the road water moving. Too many places around lakes and everything have filled in ditches, and now they want to complain that they got water issues. That was the issue, because somebody allowed them to fill in the ditch. You just don't allow it unless there's unique circumstances, and I think Godfrey's was one of those unique circumstances and we worked with him, I think he did a good job there.
Hillsdale Township was another one,
No brother,
in front of the
township
township
hall,
hall.
yeah.
We put a tile in underneath their driveway and everything.
But sometimes you gotta alleviate a hazard
Yeah,
by doing it, as long as you got the flow and everything, but that's normally, and other than unique situations, the groundwater isn't causing us issues. It's the water we're trying to get off the road and away from the road, and that needs to be a constant tube or some kind of constant flow, which is there. I guess that's just my stance.
Okay. Anything else? We still got public comment. Jim?
Again, I'd like to have the board consider our work agreement. I was looking at one of the old ones that we've negotiated ourselves, which I don't know how many I've been involved in negotiating contracts here since, I think it was '97 is when we booted the Teamsters out, went to association. Ever since then, it's always been a good thing with the association. One of our contracts that we all signed, Bob and Mike and, Bill Watkins was on that one. It was signed on the 16th in 2017, 16th of January. So this one going 8 months really is pretty hard to fathom, especially for the guys. And with that being said, Bob, you said you want to take care of this situation. I think you are falling short on it. I mean, I don't know the whole specifics, and again, like I said, I don't want to bargain the contract here at this table, but I'd like to see some progress on it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, we can stand adjourned. Thank you.